to be, and it's not propaganda to say this, it's the truth. Canada is a country outside of our immediate European neighborhood, of course, with which the EU has at the present time the strongest relationship. And it's not just the strongest relationship in terms of being like-minded to look at a series of issues, in terms of the dialogue we're having and how we are coordinating our position in G7, G20, and other fora. It's also translated into a series of agreements, the Strategic Partnership Agreement, and the famous CETA, the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, which give us really a strong framework of relationship. And we are using it as EU also as a model, and I think the Canadians are doing the same, as a model relationship in how we build relationships with now other partners across the globe. So that's for us, I would say, also even more important to hear what the youth on the both sides have to say and how they look at the comparisons between our societies. Just a little word on digitalization generally. I mean, the future will be increasingly digital. We discussed that already. The crisis we're having is really the sort of living proof of this assertion. And as we look at the digitalization of societies, we are also aware of that it will benefit a number of people and it will not benefit others. And one of the issues that we are presently working on, notably within the context of the G7, is to look at the impact of digitalization on the work of tomorrow and how this will actually change the nature of jobs, how this will modify the necessities for training, for education, for investment, and the whole direction of society in the future. And these are very, very important discussions, and I trust that what you are looking at will actually also help and go in this direction. And among those issues that we have to look at, it's to how we improve the daily life of everyone, and to do it in a fair and inclusive manner, and that involves respecting rights and privacy. That involves the respect of data privacy. And that's a very, very sensitive issue in the European side. And to a large extent, I have to say, transatlantic relationship, because on occasions, visions and perceptions on that question are not the same. And the other points that we want to look at through digitalization, but I mentioned that quickly, is how to get business to start, to readapt jobs, and also the extent to which it can help us to reach the climate neutrality and achieve the green transition. That's what we started the discussion with. That's the very, very big challenge for us now in the EU, how this Green Deal that we have proposed at the level of the European Commission can effectively fit with the realities post-COVID, and notably the economic realities post-COVID. And we have a very strong investment in that respect, policy-wise, on what digitalization can bring to reconcile these contradictions and these dimensions and help us make better proposals for the future. Some of you worked on cities, on smart and fast expanding cities. And as a matter of fact, I'm sure you know these figures, but I was quite amazed when looking at those figures. 78% of European citizens live in cities, and 85% of the GDP from the European Union is generated in cities, which is also a very strong reflection of the expansion of services and digitalization. And so that's also for us an important thing to look at how we can, in a smart way, improve the quality of life, competitiveness, and sustainability of our societies in cities. One in this respect, actually, because you have this project here, but we have others, I mentioned this, and notably, for your information, we have worked a lot with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities of Canada to bring them in this global covenant of mayors that is now looking at how we can have a stronger and better urban cooperation in terms of addressing environmental issues and climate change. Well, I have already spoken very long, so my apologies for that. And I know that all these days, 5 days, I think, for the Vancouver Madrid, but 5 months and even longer for the participants of the Thinkathon Online Challenge certainly have been very thought-provoking for you, and I'm sure extremely interesting and fascinating. And I mean, I can just repeat that we are very eager to listen to your views, to read about this, to hear about your recommendations. And I can only wish you a very good continuation also in those endeavors, as well as in your personal lives. And hoping really very, very much that experience that you have had, thanks to this EU project and thanks to the contribution again of the Goethe-Institut, will also help you shape your visions and maybe inspire to you different vocations and effectively to have a positive look at what the future reserves for us. Voilà. Thank you very much for your attention, and good continuation, everyone. Thanks. So bye-bye.
Thank you, Brice, for your nice words and also insights. Very much appreciated to having you among us. So I hand over to Pierre now, who will give some technical information, presentation rules, and then we start with the first presentation round.
So hi everyone, I'm Pierre here. Having a little talk about some technicals. Just to remind all the teams that you have 5 minutes of presentations and 5 minutes Q&A following. We will have this time of questions and answers from the jury, and I will introduce the jurors and the members of the jury. So starting with Claude Landry. We also have Andrea Bogner, we have Ricardo Badano and Jean-Vincent Deligotti, and we also have Amanda Chateau. So all the jury members will be evaluating the pitch presentations from the 5 teams of the online Thinkathon. So the teams going to presenting today are E-City or X-City, Online Accessibility, and Talk Maze, the Sword Analysis, and Think Outside the Bars. So the teams are going to present for 5 minutes and 5 minutes Q&A later. I also would remind the whole crew about an audience prize that is going on. So we have an audience prize open. If you go to the Agorize website, there's a link you can click on to go to this audience prize, to see the teams, to see their presentations, the one they're going to be sharing right now. And you can give a like. You have only 1 like to address to one of the teams, so choose your team wisely. And at the end of the presentation, we'll have a look on what's the preferred presentations from the crowd, from the whole audience. We're 70 person on this call, and we'll see how many people, what's the preference of the public and compare it to the preference of the jury. So going further, I hand the floor to Annalena. Annalena, if you want to take and present the pitches.
Yeah, well, actually, I would like the jurors to introduce themselves for like 45 seconds. That's very sharp, but at least the team members will know whom they have in front of them as jurors. So please introduce yourself for 45 seconds. Claude, if we could start with you, and then you name the next juror that the next juror knows who will start. After the 5 jurors introduce themselves, Claude, it's you again, and you can address the first team to start the pitch. We don't hear you. You're muted. Pierre, could you unmute Claude, please? Pierre, do you hear me? Could you?
Yes, I hear you. I sent a request for Claude to activate his mic, but it doesn't seem to be working.
Okay.
So Claude, you should see a request for activating your microphone on your screen. It's in the app. Yes, now.
Okay. Whoops. Excellent. Here. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Claude Landry, and I am the programming director for Montreal Connect, which is Montreal Digital Week. It's an event organized by Digital Spring. It's an event that now will be virtual in October for the reason we all know. But it is an event where we discuss the challenges and also the economic, environmental, social impact of digital transformation that occurs in all ecosystems, because now digital is, as we all know, everywhere. So, and I feel strongly that digital inclusion will be a big challenge in the future. So really, I'm looking forward to hear all these presentations. And as a surprise, I'm offering a free pass for all the members of the 5 teams if they want to attend in October's this great event where you will be able to hear like great leaders that will talk about digital transformation in things like cybersecurity, carbon zero, the city of the future, sustainability, artificial intelligence. So you're all welcome, to join us in October. I hope I didn't take more than 45 seconds. Thank you.
Okay, then next one.
And the next one, Andrea.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Bögner. I'm cultural attaché at the Canadian Embassy to Germany in Berlin. I'm responsible for literature, media, art, and music. And I have a background in digital media and also worked for the educational program. So I'm very thrilled to be participating in this and to listen to your pitches. I've seen the presentations and I think we can all look forward to them. I nominate Jean Vincent. Sorry, you're drinking.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jean-Vincent Drizzotti. I'm part of Agorize, the Open platform you've been using as participants, juries, or administrators for the past few months. And I'm in charge here in Montreal for sales for North America. And really happy to be here today to see your projects. So I nominate Ricardo.
Hi everyone, I'm Riccardo Raffaele Bozzano, and I'm so proud to be part of this project. I'm education and training director at Janus Group, artist and entrepreneur. And I designed the format of 24-hour Thinkathon, so I'm very engaged in this project, and congratulations in advance for the output that the teams did, and exciting to the presentation. So thank you very much. And voila, the last one, juror. And after we stop. Thanks a lot.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm a millennial policymaker. So I'm an elected Canadian politician. I'm a director of electoral area BX Silver Star, which is the position of a mayor. I'm also a board director for multiple nonprofits and NGOs, the United Nations Association in Canada, and I've traveled and worked in over 30 countries. So I'm a huge supporter of creative and cross-cultural collaborations and initiatives. And I'm very happy to be here with you guys and to listen to your projects.
Wonderful, thank you. Claude, I hand over to you again.
Excellent. Well, I'm very pleased to introduce the first team, and the presenters will be Jalmar Van Ginkel and Boden Yeromenko, and the project is X-City. So the floor is yours. Good luck.
Okay. Just can you hear me? Just let me check the audio. Yeah. Jalmar, can you double check?
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
I just had to mute myself. which is always a difficult task.
Everyone can hear us, then we can start.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for joining us. We're Axity. We would like to elaborate on the topic of digital identity and data sharing. We're a team of critical thinkers and try to improve the future. We discovered a need for data sharing with citizens in the public services. Resulting from this, we started a project in the Netherlands on data sharing during emergency services, and now we joined the Thinkathon to elaborate more on this topic on a policy level. So data sharing is quite important. As we've seen in the current or in the COVID outbreak, the virus could be chased through personal data of people. This was very effective in mitigating the virus and also literally saving lives. So currently there's a bit of a problem around data sharing in mostly Canada and EU, which is there's not really a framework for citizens to share their data on, but also, and that makes data sources quite disconnected. So public services try to use open data, but also personal data. Open data is all data accessible by the public, so for everyone. Personal data is all the data that's related to a person, which is medical, financial, properties you own, but also mobile data. So we would like to elaborate on the topic of fire emergency. Just imagine you're in a room. It just only takes 3 minutes to rise for the temperature to rise over to 260 degrees. You can imagine that time and information is quite crucial in these situations. There was a case in the Netherlands where firefighters entered the building without knowing there was an oxygen bottle inside. And unfortunately, this resulted in nobody really surviving the fire. So this small piece of information could have helped save lives. So our statement on this is data is valuable when it's shared. So the problem is there's not really a framework for citizens to share their data on with public services, and that could result in other situations.
But imagine what if there was a solution to the framework where you can share data. We see as citizens as data providers, and they share their data, for instance, info about oxygen bottle, to public services using digital ID. Parties agree what data should be shared and when. Then citizens' data is securely stored and encrypted, and once fire occurred, emergency service, dispatch center would use the data. Fire brigade gets more insight about potential victims and mitigates the case more efficient. The key framework about solution is that relevant data would be shared to relevant stakeholders at the right time. What is the recommendation beside all of these technical details? Our recommendation is based on usage of digital identity and data sharing, which enables citizens to have full ownership over the usage of personal data to ensure privacy, by authorizing on preset rules to share information efficiently with governmental organizations. Through these authorizations, data sharing becomes more transparent and beneficial for citizens, the government, and public services. What is the impact? Citizens can contribute to the safe, inclusive community, government can improve trust in face of their citizens, and public services personalize and extend emergency service capacities. What do we need from policymakers? A policy that will advise citizens to share data with public services and public services to use the data to improve quality of service. Why is our recommendation important? Our recommendation could build up a framework for private and public sector to develop solutions related to data sharing and emergency situations. On our project roadmap, we can highlight 3 key stages. Take off, where we define the need, key problem, and prepare the policy recommendation. Go fast, the project will be developed and tested in the Netherlands with support of Dutch police. And go far, policy on data sharing will be implemented on the EU level, and project is scaled to other regions. The main vision that really inspires us to work on the project and recommendation is to create a society where we are all safety contributors, not only safety consumers. In case, if you would like to cooperate with us, you can find us on LinkedIn. Just grab us a message, and we would like to collaborate with you on topic on emergency cases. And also currently we are doing the research on that topic. If you might know, we can share to you the Google survey, and you can make your impact to create inclusive digital safety future. Thank you for your attention.
Wonderful. I hand over to the jury. You are your time now to shoot all your questions to the team. 5 minutes.
Okay, I have one question. I'm questioning, how do you make sure that your data is updated? And what happens if you act upon wrong data and a death occur?
Yolmer, would you elaborate? Or
well, for example, let's say that we have data about a house, and then someone renovate the house, but it didn't update the data. So now this data is communicated to the emergency crew, but then it ended up to be wrong data, and they do the wrong action. So how do you make sure that the data is always updated?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Oh, yeah, you take it.
We already considered the point already. And the point is, first of all, how citizens would share the data. Data would share via application. And in case if data should be renewed, first of all, there will be kind of two flow. We can remind citizen or user of the data to update the data instantly. For instance, about the oxygen bottle, hazardous materials, maybe plan of the building, or any other data that he has updated. And of course, like the second point, we need to also make sure that data is updated. So first flow that we would remind him about it. The second point that he also would get kind of flow when to remind, and in which cases he has to update the data. Maybe Yolmer, you also can add on the point.
Yeah, surely I can elaborate on that as well. So it's in his own interest to share the up-to-date data to make sure he receives the benefits of sharing the data in the first place as citizen. So partly responsibility would lie with the citizen sharing the data and keeping it up to date. But that would also make it more digital aware about what data is and how it would impact them. Does that answer your question, or?
I
Somebody
have a
else?
question.
Oh,
yeah. Concerning the slide number 15, so the roadmap that you presented, what resources do you have, and what gaps do you need to fill to go far in your roadmap? If you can share something more about this, thank you very much.
Okay. So regarding the Go Fast, it's exactly where currently the required resources. We participate in another program where actually project about the emergency service was raised. We do have support, technical, mentor support, also investment, financial support during this contest in Netherlands. The mainly financial should come from police Dutch police, because they're kind of this main stakeholder of the project, but also during this next 6 months, because the pilot should come on in November 2020. Before that, we also have opportunity to connect to different stakeholders. On the technical side, for instance, we have stakeholders who provide digital identity, and also have stakeholders who provide us the data, and we have stakeholders who can provide us a financial resources for that. If you're talking about the financial for the resources for the policy, we do require support, of course, from policymakers and also law support. And on that, we can build up a clear budget, for instance, which kind of resources and how much money, let's say, do we need from policy to define the policy.
Shortly adding on that, we're not really policymakers, we're more tech guys who have an idea. So we need more expertise about how to write a policy in that case. So I hope that makes sense.
Thank you very much.
Just one question. Sorry.
Go ahead, Andrea.
I just have one question. Thank you very much. It's a very impressive project proposal. The example is based on personal data with regards to location mainly. So can you give an example which is more in the area of health personal data or financial personal data, which has challenges itself, and how would you address them?
Yes, of course. Can I take this slide on it? Yes. So as I mentioned, yeah, there's medical data. So medical data is very scattered right now. If somebody would have access to his own medical data, it could be shared when he walks into a hospital, for example. Currently, it's the case that some hospitals all keep different records and not all information about the patient is, in that case, to the benefit of the patient because it's separated. For financial, partly digital identity could help make agreements and give access to financial, to a bank account, for example. If you have a digital identity, you can literally open a bank account one day for one bank, next day for the next bank, if they do the same checks and routines. So it would be easier to verify who you are and the agreement you're making. Does that answer? It's 2 examples, right?
Thank you.
So Cloud, Cloud, did you have a extra follow-up question, or was it just comment?
Do you have any idea how much this will cost? Because experiencing the National Registry for Firearms in Canada, which costs over $1 billion, I was wondering if you have any idea how much this project could cost.
Okay, so regarding the costs, currently we're in the stage, we're defining the stakeholders, additional stakeholders. What do we know on the current stage from Dutch police? Because they're a main financial investor. We know first they have a budget for the project because the project was authorized by kind of department within Dutch police. And they have the cost to test the project within the Dutch police dispatch center. They have all the relevant resources, but even make an assumption on the number, I cannot answer because currently we on, let's say, a stage of defining the stakeholders, defining more precisely what you should do, maybe which kind of stakeholder we should add. And we would define the cost late on the stages, probably in August or September.
What I could add on that is, I think for Canada, I would probably could take it to the next step because population density is quite low there. You could create an ecosystem where neighbors are helping each other out in this sense. So that the nearest volunteer, for example, would respond to a fire and try to help in some way if they have the skills. Is that a good answer? Any other questions, or are we running out of time?
I think we're actually running out of time. I'm not sure if everybody sees my screen. So from now on, I'll also be sending you guys a notice in chat. So please keep an eye out. Thank you so much. If we could move on to the next team, Annalena, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, well, actually, just let me see. It's, oops, I'm too fast. Okay, the next juror. Okay. Andrea, you are announcing the next team.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to welcome next the team with the pitch online accessibility. So Tobias and Daniel, I think Johannesson, the stage is yours.
Yeah, that's right. Can you enable screen sharing to share a presentation? It's disabled at the moment.
Pierre, can you do it?
Yes.
Thank you.
You are now able to share your screen. Also, Kate, whenever time is running, please speak up so your screen appears and we see your card. Or make some noise so we can see your card.
Okay, great. Here we go. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope everyone is doing well during these trying times. My name is Tobias, and with me today, I have my brother Daniel and our dear friends Kia and Rickard. We are based in Stockholm, Sweden, with backgrounds from business, computer engineering, global political economy, and economical history. We are together the online accessibility team. It is our firm belief that many of the technological advancements made are beneficial, but only to those who can really make use of these advancements. The rest fall behind. There are many regulations making the physical environment around us, for all, but much less are done concerning the digital environment. There are many people with disabilities and other difficulties that have issues to access and use many websites and applications available. Not only because they lack access to a computer or internet, but because the design online is of such nature that it becomes hard to use. Our policy recommendation is that the European Union should take inspiration from Ontario, Canada, and implement the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG 2.0. These are guidelines covering, among other things, website language, design, color scheme, element size, graphics, and much more. Today, EU does implement similar guidelines to Ontario with one big difference. EU focuses on public bodies, where Ontario also takes private companies into regard. Since private companies constitutes most available websites and functions online, this is one important difference. We have chosen for our presentation to consist of mostly dark text on a light background with few graphics to be easily accessible to all. There's of course more fun ways to do it, but as we will show later, there are way worse ways. Here we see some good examples on the screen on good web design with clear contrasts, good colors, and this makes it easier to orient, welcoming everyone to the websites. And here we see some head-aching, inducing, messy, and really unclear ones, which would be hard to use for most of us. Now I give the word to Daniel.
Much of our everyday lives continues to move online. You order food, you do bank errands, you connect with friends, you do work, and of course leisure activities. I mean, who doesn't like to watch a couple of episodes or seasons when they have some time to spare? With almost everything moving from the physical world to the digital realm, the question about online accessibility is a humanitarian one. In the EU alone, there are millions of people that would be affected by this policy implementation. This includes elderly, unaccustomed to technology, people with disabilities, cognitive limitations, photosensitivity, with more. This means that the number having issues with orienting of websites and applications could be in the hundreds of millions. Due to the large amount of actors needed to be involved, there are challenges along the way for implementation. In the presentation you have to your disposal, we propose in detail different ways of making sure to get all stakeholders aboard the policy implementation. But in short, we propose workshops in Ontario for member state representatives, presenting economic incentives to companies, since they will reach a larger customer base. Discussions on a national level for integrating the WCAG framework into current IT education, and collaboration with private initiatives to make sure that those lacking digital devices and internet connection, the first hindrance, can be supported. With the standard use of technology becoming more common as well as more advanced, there are huge risks with widening a gap between those who are included in the digital development and those who are not. It is our responsibility to make sure that everyone gets a chance to be an included part of society, and we are convinced that policy implementation of this kind are crucial for this. A vote on us is not just a vote on online accessibility, it is a vote to include those who do not have the same opportunities as the rest of us. It is a vote to bring this question into light. It is a vote on the belief that everybody are worthy of being a part of society. We are Online Accessibility, and thank you for listening.
The floor is open to the jurors to ask your questions, please.
Hi, everyone. Jean-Vincent speaking. Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. I mainly agree with your point, and I'm wondering about the time frame that you think would be reasonable for adapting so many tools and websites globally. So you're saying 13 years?
Yeah, this is an approximation. We are of the belief that it will take a long time, since there are multiple actors that are stakeholders in this kind of implementation. And looking at the time it took for Ontario, that still works with the implementation, we skissed out a rough timeline looking into it. And it might even take a longer time frame, but we believe it will take absolutely 10 plus years for the total implementation and integration of this policy.
Thank you.
Actually, it's a bit in the same vein. Thank you for your presentation, but in your implementation phase, don't you feel that with digital technology moving so fast, so rapidly, and technology change almost every year, even now we live in COVID and we're adapting to new technology, don't you feel that it's a drawback to implement in such a fashion?
I mean, the WCAG framework constitutes of a base work of different rules for web design, like, for example, the language of the content, making websites available in multiple languages, like texting videos, and making descriptions for pictures available on the website. So I mean, the framework, even though the rapidly development of technology won't be a hindrance for the continued development of the technology, just a base really for the design of websites and applications to be available for all.
Yeah, if I can chip
Makes
in
sense. Thank you.
just for a quick second. I myself, as a programmer, when doing web design, web development, the technology and like programming languages, of course, all of that is moving rapidly. But since day one, most web design have about the same structure, and we're moving into like the color schemes, trying to not have a dark blue color on, for example, a black background. So those things are about the same if you switch language or platform.
I mean, this policy would stop like websites from being allowed to look like this. And I think nobody of us would like to even try to orientate on a website like ongren.net, for example. And no hard feelings to Ongren, but yeah, it's kind of horrible.
Hi, it's Amanda here. Thank you for your presentation. I'm just wondering in regards to, do you think in order for this to happen, it would have to be done through policy? In other words, force and coerce the businesses or people to change their websites this way? Or do you think this could also be, it may be in a slower timeline, could be done without being through policy, such as a communications method to businesses saying your sales will go up, you'll have more interaction with your business if you have say a cleaner or more easier to read website?
I mean, absolutely. Part of our more detailed presentation that is available on the website, we also propose a part strategy of the implementation of including communication with private companies as well, because many companies are aware of like the pressure from the public as well of meeting certain standards. But I mean, this won't concern all companies, and I think working at this problem on the aspect of a policy implementation will also bring more light to the question at hand. And even though it will take years for the policy to be implemented, and maybe it wouldn't be possible, but it would still make this question make people more aware of the question at hand, allowing those who have problems with the designs of website and application today to have a platform and a forum to make their voice heard if this is up for discussion.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. That is the time for our Q&A towards online accessibility.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. If we could please have Ricardo present our next group.
Yeah, for sure. And so I'm so proud to present you the SWOT analysis group to present your work. Thank you very much.
So hello from us. Just please give us a moment to set up a timer for ourselves because we only have one screen, so that is a little bit more of a hassle. And also, I'm sorry, but we also don't have access to the screen sharing. So if you can help us with that. Thank you very much. All right, hello everyone. This is the team SWOT analysis. And first of all, I would like to start with a short introduction that when we saw the newsletter and we saw the Thinkathon, we were really excited and motivated to work on topics that included themes like digital inclusion, youth involvement, engagement, and so on. So my name is Nick, this is Evelina, and we are medical students from Athens, Greece. We've been involved for years with various youth organizations, so these topics came very close to home for us. And we chose Citizenship 4.0 for us because during our situation analysis, we thought that our very diverse cities of today are still very tribalized, very split into different groups. And this can become even worse with digitalization, with people from vulnerable groups being more drawn to the sidelines. And this is what we wanted to really solve with our project proposal. And we decided to focus more on the local level, the level of the city, because we wanted a project that can be realistically implemented, that can be flexible and adjustable to the local circumstances, and through which people can get a sense of belonging to their own city. They can see the results happen, the changes in front of their eyes, and we can finally win their hearts and minds, and so create gradual change in their behaviors through time. And our personal inspiration, of course, came through our city, which is Athens, which is a very big metropolis, which, even though it is our home, it's still very divided into groups, as we said. And in thinking of our recommendation, we kept in mind the following concepts: gamification, so like the application of game elements, the context hypothesis from social theory, and of course the value of inclusion, the concept of digitalization, and also the thought of creating this positive feedback loop in people and creating participation through this. And so our recommendation, which you can also find more in detail, is to basically create a sort of social currency. You can think of it as points or even as a loyalty program for your own city. And these points can be gained in a platform which the city would provide, accessible to all residents. And through participation in different activities, which can be organized by other individuals, by NGOs, local businesses, or the local authorities themselves, which activities would be from something as simple as tree planting to very detailed, intercultural exchange activities. Citizens can gain points which they can use to get access to different incentives, for example, discounts in public transportation or discounts in local businesses and so forth. And then we want to gamify and incentivize this sense of volunteerism and engagement into one's local community. We, of course, would need many important stakeholders like the public, the providers of these activities, the local partners, and the local authorities to help us with these. But we want to create lasting impact through a quadruple bottom line of improving the urban environment, creating bonds within society, improving this sense of good citizenship, and of course, strengthening the economy, and through these create sustainable change. We're medical students, so the concept of no one being left behind is very, very crucial for us. And for those groups that might not be able to participate very, very well at first, we want to identify them and then use physical means like newspaper ads or membership cards, also workshops for digital literacy, and provide them with the resources that they can use in order to be able to take part. And we want to create a project that is self-sustaining through proper budgeting and investments at first, and then through fundraising and sponsorships from the local community, and creating good engagement and handover of the activities in citizenships. Of course, there are many risks. For example, the lack of internet access or digital literacy, or the potential lack of very good rewards, which should be counteracted by a good plan, starting with a very detailed draft of the project, a good community engagement of the leaders of the community, active rollout and promotion, and of course, good planning of the phases of the activities in order to promote this sustainable growth. And of course, it's very important to evaluate the project continuously in order to provide the best value for the community. Thank you very much. This is our team, this is our project, and we're open to all of our questions. Thank you.
Okay, Juros, it's your time.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the presentation. You were talking about tokens or like a social currency, and that makes me a bit worried, to be honest, because of course, if the state is a good and generous and kind, that's perfect. But don't you think it could, in some cases, and I guess that has kind of already happened somewhere, be used to put in advantages in the hands of people who are in accordance with what the states want or with what the cities think is appropriate? Don't you think it could be used in a wrong way?
Well, as you said, sadly, there have been already instances of these concepts around the world, and this has been a thought in our heads from the beginning. And this is why it's important to know the policy, and the projects like these should always come together, because the goal here is to augment the sort of participation into one's community through just incentivizing these positive activities that we all want from good citizens. It should be, there is a risk, of course there is a risk, but everywhere where you have so many big projects, there are risks for them to run like through their course and through their limits. I think it's important that we all, as residents of a city or of a country or of a region, such as the EU, keep in mind how our data or our rights are being used, and what can we do in order to be sure that there is proper authority, proper transparency in everything that is happening. And I think, as I said, good policy at the local, national, and regional level is really required to make sure that not only data or the processes from this project, but for any project, cannot be used against one's own citizens.
Thank you.
I've been seeing it in the presentation. Hi, thank you for your presentation. I somewhat like it. Just wonder, because you haven't talked about that aspect, but you're talking about obviously digital access, but are you planning also to include the mobility aspect, because everyone, even an immigrant, most likely will have a mobile phone, and also it is easier to micro target, with a mobile phone, with all the cell towers, in the really neighborhood aspect. So in your implementation, are you planning to add the gamification on a mobile platform?
Of course, as mobile platforms are actually, I think, based on the statistics, the more, the most used platforms nowadays. Mobile apps and mobile websites would be probably the focus of this. But for realistic implementation, at least at the first phase, we wouldn't be thinking about for example, using the location services, because this not only drives up the budget, the computing requirements of a project like this, but it also brings about all these weird, somewhat weird concepts of like targeting specific individuals, etc. However, for example, in our in the previous stage of the Thinkathon, you can find that we think it can be targeted to a particular group, which would be a target group for an intervention, for example, migrant populations, or like students, or all these groups that we might want to push a little bit further so that they can be included into the good community engagements. I hope that covered.
Hi, it's Amanda. I was wondering, have you looked at all at finances or budget of how much this might cost to try to implement, just in regards to advertising and getting people involved in it? I have seen a couple years ago in Vancouver, there was an app that was developed similar to this to get volunteers, and they would get incentivized. If you volunteered X amount of hours, you would get prizes from corporations for your volunteering work, and that would get people into charities. However, an issue that they were running into was that they couldn't get the information about the app out to the public enough. And so there wasn't enough people participating for a lot of the businesses to want to participate by giving prizes, because they in turn want to be advertising on the app. So I was just wondering if you looked at all into sort of the cost that this could be.
About the cost, I can say that we wouldn't be able to get a ballpark out there because we're not experts at this. However, I should mention that the computing power and the technologies behind this would not be too advanced. So with cloud computing nowadays, you can build scalable solutions that are not too expensive for something like this to be implemented, because it's quite simple. It's a database at its heart. About advertising, that's a very good question, because I think the strength of this would be that it's with coordination with the local authorities. So such efforts can also be done through like the local authority. Like when you go to an office of the municipality, you can see an advertisement there, etc. So this can help the promotion effect quite a bit.
Thank you very much. I will thank you for your presentation, first of all, but I would like to let Jean-Vincent present the next team.
Thank you. I will invite the TalkMaze team on stage, and especially Galia Armeer, who will be presenting their project.
Thank you. I just need some permission to share my screen.
Sure.
I'm still unable to share my screen. Could you please enable my screen sharing?
Yes, it should be now.
Okay. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. Prioritizing empowerment within our digital future. That's our goal as Team TalkMaze. My name is Galia, and I'm super excited to be here representing a team spanning from Europe to Canada, and we're excited to be presenting at this Thinkathon. So let's dive right into our recommendation. Our recommendation today is to make public speaking education a priority by offering it as a separate course at every K-12 school. Invest in an online platform to educate educators on how to deliver these programs consistently to ensure accessibility to all individuals. Now, I'm sure you're all thinking, why public speaking? Well, we've done a lot of research. We have personal experiences as well. And we found shocking statistics that public speaking can have a vast impact on students' growth. Not only that, but it actually develops students into engaged and involved citizens who ultimately become active contributors to the economy. Really, there's nothing to lose. So the other problem is that although there's such a vast impact, such a significant difference to be made, the resources and training to access these skills is limited. Only students who attend specific schools or can afford to take part in extracurricular programs are able to build these skills, and ultimately everybody else is left behind. So we did a lot of research throughout the past few months, and we found out who the main stakeholders are. We know that the governments, education officials, teachers, parents, and students play a huge role. So as you can see on the screen, we also interviewed officials and we did a survey with students to find the impact that it has. Over 92% of the surveyed respondents showed that public speaking or debate actually improves confidence. We've shown a need and we showed that our solution can make impact. So through our research, we came up with a simple 3-step implementation plan. The first step is to introduce public speaking courses into the school curriculums. So during this step, we actually work with policymakers, we work with government officials, we create focus groups and committees to determine what this curriculum is going to look like and what will best benefit students. After that is done, we move on to step 2. So during step 2, we actually develop an online platform to be used across Europe and Canada for delivering these courses. The online platform itself will essentially be used to train these educators who can ultimately deliver the programs across different countries. Currently in the status quo, an issue that we have is that there is a discrepancy between rural and urban areas in technology, and they're not able to access it. We're going to make sure that we strategically utilize the power of educators to ensure that we are digitally inclusive. And step 3 is to implement programs in schools across all countries. So over here, we really have a lot of commitment from school officials, administrators, and educators. Just to focus a little bit more on digital inclusion and how that really focuses onto the online Thinkathon itself. We're going to ensure that educators in all regions have access to technology to learn about the new programs. On this digital platform, they'll be able to interact and engage with experienced coaches and instructors to see how they can implement these courses for public speaking within their classroom. So a common question that we get asked is, how are we going to implement an education-focused policy in Europe where countries each have their own education policies? 3 points for this. First of all, we're going to gain visibility by presenting our proposal to relevant officials in Europe. Unfortunately, in the status quo, many people don't even realize that this is an issue and that the public speaking can actually make a vast impact. So the first step really is to get policymakers on board, get people on board and really make some noise. Second is to work with organizations like European SchoolNet and the Lifelong Learning Platform to facilitate the execution of this policy proposal. So these two organizations actually work transnationally across Europe to facilitate different education aspects across the different countries. And finally, we will establish a committee dedicated to enhancing public speaking education across Europe and Canada, and actually making sure that this policy proposal goes through. So what sets Team Talkmaze apart? Creativity, impact, relevance, and diversity. This is why you should vote for us. First of all, creativity. We offer an innovative approach using technology to solve a pressing issue. Impact. We've demonstrated a clear need, unique opportunity, and sizable impact. We've shown you through our primary and secondary research that this problem exists and that we're about to make an impact on thousands of students across Europe and Canada. Third, relevance. The project uses a model that educates educators in order to effectively address digital inclusion while implementing an amazing policy. And 4, diversity. We're the only finalist team that brings members from both Europe and Canada. We show you what the essence of this competition is, while also proposing a solution that focuses on addressing underrepresented communities. We are Team Talkmaze, and we stand for youth empowerment, digital inclusion, and accessibility. We are super excited to be here, and I'll be happy to take any questions at this time. Thank you.
Great. Wonderful presentation. Thank you. Jurors, please, it's your turn.
Yes, I have a question. I know in Canada, education curriculum is managed by the province. And in your study, also curriculum right now is very packed. What do you plan to remove from the curriculum to insert your public speaking initiative?
That's a really good question. So I don't think that we necessarily need to remove anything from the curriculum. So we spoke with officials across the country, and one of the ones that comes to mind is speaking with Manitoba's officials who manage education. And they really spoke to us about how public speaking currently, there's an attempt to add it to the curriculum. So it's kind of integrated into different subjects like social studies or English, but there's no focus on it. So if we transfer that focus from instead of having that public speaking in the specific subject and really just have a separate focus of that, we have that time and the resources to dedicate it to that. So we don't necessarily need to cut out anything from the curriculum that exists. It's really about how are we going to manage the curriculum, the time, and the resources in order to help students build this skill.
A quick question. Have you ever taken public speaking classes?
I have. I was very shy when I was a kid. I started debate and public speaking when I was 12 years old. And for the past 7 years, I've been very passionate about it. And I've been coaching kids for the past 4+ years. Yes.
Good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations for your presentation. From my side, I have a question concerning your recommendation. So the part where you say the investment in an online platform for to educate educators. So should you explain a bit more this part, this idea? So the online platform, which is your idea, how this project can help on this side. Thank you very much.
Of course, I've just pulled up a slide from our phase 2 submission that kind of explains the digital platform a little further. So the reason why we need to have a digital platform is because right now there are public speaking resources, but the problem is that there aren't people who are trained in public speaking, but they really exist in like usually large urban areas, or they are centered in different places. Not every single instructor has the ability to do that. So like a math teacher per se couldn't necessarily always go and public speak and give a class to kids. So we want to use a digital platform to train instructors in these different areas. So for example, the instructor in a rural area where they might not have someone who's very skilled in public speaking, but we utilize this digital platform to bring them on to connect, learn, and train so that they have the ability, they're empowered, and then they can take the empowerment and go empower the students within their classes to deliver those lessons.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I have a question. I was wondering, have you considered, because you're talking about here, educating the educators. So teachers have to go to school to get their degree in teaching. Would you consider teaching them at that level in their own education, than just having it online for the current teachers, or what do you think?
Well, I think that like the purpose of our proposal is really because currently in the education system for teachers, they're not learning how to deliver a specific public speaking course. The teachers who are already like delivering lessons, they don't have that. So they would really need to be kind of trained again for public speaking specifically. But I think that that is definitely an awesome idea to, in the future, incorporate public speaking into what they're already training. But I think it's just important to realize that like not every instructor is going to be teaching that course. So it's like we would have to have specific instructors who are teaching that course and then determining the education based on that. I also think it's a very long-term process. So we need to kind of take it step by step, but I think that we are definitely open to considering that adding that part of the education system, and then they can essentially get that training within the 4 years when they're completing their education degree, which of course is a lot more flexible for them.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
I think in terms of time, we have 30 seconds left. If any other jurors have any short questions quickly, if not, we can start moving on to the last team that will also be presented by Amanda. Thank you very much, Sakmis, for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, so the next group that we have is Think Outside the Bars by Manpreet and Segar.
Awesome, thank you. We'll just get the presentation up.
Hi, everyone. Before we begin, we wish to take this opportunity to acknowledge the systemic racism and marginalization which is prevalent in our communities. This affects us all, and we must be better to combat the unjust treatment of racialized communities, such as the Black and Indigenous communities of Canada. We are Think Outside the Bars. My name is Manpreet Diol from Vancouver, BC, and my partner is Sagar Gariwal from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We believe that our digital future must be inclusive and equitable. Unfortunately, many populations continue to be neglected and left behind, and we want to change that. Every person on Canadian soil, whether they are in our prison system or in our immigration system, deserve to be treated with humanity and dignity and to have full access to Canada's human rights protections. As racialized communities, Black and Indigenous people already face significant barriers, stigma, and discrimination. In Canada, Black and Indigenous communities are severely overrepresented in our federal prison system. Additionally, these individuals are more likely to receive harsher penalties for similar crimes in comparison to non-racialized counterparts. Currently, Correctional Services Canada only devotes 1% of their budget to supporting educational programming in correctional facilities. Education offerings are limited to high school level proficiency and basic vocational training, as post-secondary qualifications are no longer supported. Internet access continues to be prohibited in Canadian prisons. A goal of the Canadian justice system is to support the transition of incarcerated persons in their reintegration with society. Ideally, this would be accomplished through supporting digital skills development, personalized education programming, and stable employment opportunities. However, in reality, there is a lack of digital access, a lack of educational support, a lack of employment prospects. We are failing to uphold this aspiration, and we are failing these individuals. We believe that without access to digital skills learning opportunities, effective reintegration cannot take place in a society which is becoming increasingly digital.
Therefore, we are recommending the Government of Canada invest in a pilot study, which will see the implementation of digital skills educational programming for incarcerated individuals in the federal prison system, with a focus on supporting our racialized inmates. We plan to pursue our policy recommendation by partnering with the Government of Canada and digital skills development organizations. To date, the Government of Canada has committed to investing $110 million to the CAN Code Fund, which supports digital skills learning in underrepresented populations. We have identified the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry, Honorable Navdeep Bains, and Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, Honorable Bill Blair, as key partners at the federal level. These partnerships will help fund a pilot study through covering equipment costs, training for instructors, material curation, and career advising. The Last Mile Project is an exemplary program which first began at the San Quentin Prison in California in 2010. This initiative now includes 19 facilities across 5 different US states, where inmates are provided with digital skills training opportunities. The program's success is evident, with over 600 alumni and a 0% rate of reoffending. Similarly, we envision implementing a 3-tiered focus. We'll provide participants with hands-on experiential learning opportunities with trained instructors for in-person support. Participants would pursue skills they are interested in, such as digital marketing, web development, graphic design, data analytics, and programming. Upon completion, we would support these individuals in acquiring work opportunities through partner organizations and career advisors. Finally, we will ensure that the digital skill modules are accommodating of the learning styles and abilities of our participants, as a high proportion of inmates have special needs. While the Canadian government has recognized that digital skills are essential for participation in the digital economy, there's a severe inequity in this education. Our recommendation seeks to bring these valuable skills to an underrepresented population in an economically feasible and practical manner by partnering with experienced organizations. Not only do we aspire to reduce unemployment and reoffending rates while mitigating the stigma of incarcerated people, but we also seek to address goals 4, 10, and 16 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We can no longer remain silent about injustices and exclusion faced by these vulnerable populations as our society becomes increasingly digitized. Why is your support and vote so essential? Because digital inclusion is about welcoming all to the forefront of technology, internet, and computing, and everyone deserves to benefit from our digital future. But we are at risk of leaving an entire community behind. Thank you.
We'll open the floor for the questions now.
Yes, I have one question. Great presentation, thank you. You mentioned in your presentation about a pilot project. Have you identified already a place where the pilot project could take place, and how long and with how many inmates are you planning the pilot project?
Thank you for the question. So we have not yet identified where this will be taking place. That's something we actually hope to cover with the Government of Canada. So this is in our submitted slide deck as well. But for our implementation strategy, we hope to essentially get a pilot study up and running within the next few months, and potentially exploring that over the next year and a half or so to determine the feasibility of expanding this across the country to federal correctional facilities. The reason why we hadn't identified a specific facility yet is because we were hoping to work with the Government of Canada to identify one which already has some of the infrastructure you may need to support this program. Some facilities already do have computer hardware, for example, for their current education. So we're hoping to essentially identify one which would be optimal and easiest to implement in to pilot this.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I think you address a very important issue here. Can you give us an idea of what that involves funding-wise? I mean, you have a slide, I know, maybe you can touch on that shortly.
Yeah, I can start. So currently I mentioned that 1% of the budget, the Correctional Services Canada budget, is spent on correctional education. So they have a $2.45 billion budget, and so that's approximately 24 million that they currently spend. We don't exactly know how much it would cost for this pilot study. Obviously, that would depend on how many prisons this is rolled out in. But what we do know is that there's compelling evidence in that how much you spend on education pays out in the long run, because it actually costs $120,000 to house a prisoner in the federal prison system, but only $2,900 is actually spent currently. So when you do the math in that regard, since these individuals often have a significantly lower chance of reoffending in the future, this would be a net gain for the federal prison system. Hopefully that answers your question.
I have sort of a bit, I guess, more of a comment than a question. I think, thank you for your presentation. I think it's very timely. And I guess a recommendation would be to, even after this, to try to move on this as soon as possible, considering the climate we're in. People are asking to reconsider where funds are going in regards to policing and that whole demographic area. So I can see that funds are going to be moved around. So right now might be the appropriate time to be able to figure out your budget of what you think could happen. I am aware of, there is a federal prison in Osoyoos, which is in the South Okanagan. It's on a First Nations reserve, and so they might be, they're a very progressive community, and they might be open to a pilot project like this. So I just wanted to let you know about that.
Oh, thank you for mentioning that. And we absolutely agree that we've kind of realized throughout this Thinkathon, this is something that we definitely want to pursue, regardless of how this Thinkathon plays out, because it is so timely and so needed. I'm actually currently a member of the Prime Minister's Youth Council, and this is something I was hoping to bring up later this month when we actually have a meeting in a few weeks happening, and ideally with those two ministers we'd identified. But thank you for the recommendation of a potential partner.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any further questions for our team before we close the round of presentations? No? Okay, well, thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. I'm crossing my fingers for all 5 teams. So I'm really impressed by every single project. So now it's the time for the jurors to go into their breakout room, discuss, ask questions, and so on. And the 5 teams can relax a little bit, lean back, listen to the outcomes of the Vancouver Madrid Thinkathon, get inspired by these presentations. And then after these presentations, we will hear the votes and the decisions on the winners. So I guess, Pierre, you bring the jurors to their breakout room.
Yes, I'm bringing the jurors to the breakout room, and also I would just give a little note about the audience prize. So as you may have seen in the conversation, there's been a lot of messages, but and there was a little bit of a technical issue with the previous audience vote. You couldn't be voting, so now should be open to voting. I see that we have already some results, but just wanted to let everybody aware that you can go there and put your vote. So jury members, I'm sending you to your room.
And yeah, the jurors have now about 30 minutes to discuss, and we will then get you back to the main room. You should get a little note just before we will redirect you to our main room.
Yes, I think it's
And while Pierre is trying to bring the jurors into their breakout room, I will let the other groups know. So now the first one, the first presentation of the outcomes we will hear is the Voicing Policies group from Vancouver. So they started on Monday, working on the topic Smart and Fast Expanding Cities. And the presenter of this group will be Pooja. And I think the jurors left us. Am I right? No, I see Jean-Vincent. Okay. Pooja, if you could already get ready, prepare the presentation. We will shortly give you the right to share your screen, and then you can start with your presentation. Pierre, you let us know when it's done. Perhaps in the meantime, to just give a little bridge over this technical thing, I will unmute Antoine. This is a little bit for a surprise, so but just Antoine, you can give your impression of this week's work and just yeah, just let the other participants know, and also our Facebook community know who's following us, what was your work and how did you experience this week?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I'll try not to be too long, but honestly, you know, when we switched to the physical type of Thinkathon and events to the online one, I was, I would say maybe a bit scared of what it would look like, a bit afraid that maybe, you know, the difference in the setup would make it very difficult to try and recreate a kind of like, you know, group atmosphere and brainstorm session that would actually work out. And so I guess my main positive takeaway from the experience is that I think actually, at least as far as I'm concerned, worked much better than maybe I feared. You know, the technicalities, you know, the technical setup allows us to to do a bunch of things that, you know, I wouldn't think necessarily were imaginable. So of course, you know, the experience is slightly different. The beat is different. I think what's missing, maybe one of the things that is missing, apart from, of course, the actual physical and social interaction, is the, you know, the stress and the rush of adrenaline that comes with the event between over 24 hours. And Adana, I know that, you know about this very well also. So that I would say, of course, something that really cannot be replaced. But in terms of the content of what's, what my participants, my young participants on policy recommendations have worked on, I have been super impressed by their involvement, but by what they've done. And one of the positive things of doing it over a week is that it gives them much more time to actually think about, a bit of a background research, thinking about the details of, what they want to achieve and also how they want to achieve it, which is much more complicated to do when it only lasts for 24 hours. So overall, it's I think it's been a great experience. Even though we cannot replace the fact of being all together at the same, same place, same time. I think it's been a nice experience, and I hope the participants have enjoyed it as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing this input. Antoine, by the way, I should have introduced you properly, is our moderator of the Voicing Policies group from Vancouver and also our political outreach coordinator. Great. So now I think the jurors left. Pierre, am I right? Can we start with the presentation? Can Pooja start? Pierre, are you still there? Okay. I don't hear Pierre. Pooja, if you can you try to share your screen? Is it working? Can you unmute yourself?
Hey, Annalena, no, I'm not able to share my screen.
Okay. Then we will see. Pierre, are you with us? Perhaps Grégoire or Jean-Vincent, could you reach out to Pierre?
Otherwise, Annalena, we can start with another group if you want.
Yeah, but the problem is the screen sharing. No one can share the screen.
I think Olivia from our group could share it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Are you still there, Olivia? No.
Yes, let me try to share it.
Normally, no one should be able.
Yeah, the host has disabled the screen sharing for now.
Okay. I shut up.
Yeah, should be in one of the other rooms. So I'm just going to reach out to him to ask him.
Okay. Perfect. So to again make a little bridge, Luca, since you are the counterpart of Antoine in Europe, perhaps you could also give us a little overview. How was your week for you? How did you experiment this online Thinkathon compared to the on-site?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, I would like to say thank you because to all the participants of the sleepover, because it's not easy nowadays online with all the difficulties linked to the connections to find young and motivated people. This is what I just posted half an hour ago, committed to work on a better future and to debate on such an interesting topic, which refers to the future of the young generation. So and also to try and to make the effort to write recommendations for the policymakers. I really feel proud and privileged to be part of this exercise. So thank you very much. That's my first part. We do events with many people, and we started this project offline in Brussels and Milan. I was there for 24 hours. Was tough. Was a challenge, And I didn't know what to expect from this online version. And I actually have to tell you, Annalena, that the participation has been equally, if not more stronger than the offline events. So I don't know if I've been lucky, but it has been a nice experience. And we had less time than the initially scheduled 24-hour, but I think the group has done a great job. Well, we did a brainstorming. Sometimes I was not very good in sharing the screen, so I got some help from all the participants, and we could manage to do it. And the insights were coming from young people from different countries. So I feel enriched as well from the content and the results of the debate. So I'm very happy. That's why it's Friday here, almost evening, because it's 8 o'clock. Still phase 1 in Madrid. So then I need to leave the office to clean my hand with all the products. I don't know if you can see it, and go home. But I'm happy to stay because I really look forward to listen to all the results. These young people deserve this, and I'm really since I'm based in Brussels. At the end, I'm really looking forward to meet and in person and go together the winner to the European Parliament to bring these recommendations in person to the policymaker. Thank you very much also to you, Annalena, for moderating this in these difficult times.
Thank you, Luca. It's a pleasure. I'm discovering new skills. That's very interesting. So now, now what should we do? Our technical moderator is not here anymore, and unfortunately, I don't have the ability to share the screen.
No, I just sent him a message, and he should be back in like a minute or so. He was with the jurors in the deliberation room.
Okay, perfect. And also some of our participants, I don't know why they went into breakout rooms. They got the invitation. Probably they still are eager to work on their on their recommendations. But as soon as Pierre is back, we should also get them back into the main room, because now it's the time for our Vancouver Madrid Thinkathon participants. And perhaps as a general explanation one more time, it is called Vancouver Madrid Thinkathon because we were supposed to be in Vancouver and Madrid for 24 hours and had to take it online. So still the main part of the participants are actually from Vancouver and Madrid. But we also have some other participants from Sweden, from France, from other cities within Canada we couldn't have reached out to otherwise. So this is a very positive thing about the online switch. And I see that Pierre is back. That's wonderful. Yes. Pierre, please get everyone back into the main room now, because some of the participants just want to work further on their recommendations. And please give the right to Pooja to share the screen, because the next presentation we see is the outcome of the Voicing Policies group from Vancouver, their recommendation on how to make the digital future inclusive on the topic of smart and fast expanding cities.
Okay, Pooja has now the rights for sharing. Should I give them to anyone else then?
No, in this group will only be Pooja.
Okay. And for the other groups?
It will be me for the other group, Olivia.
Yeah, I will let you know, but it's also written in our schedule in the overview.
Yes, but I have to go back with the the jury members.
Oh, okay, okay. Then please give the right to Olivia, Andreina, and to
Okay, and
Céline.
Olivia's done. Céline also is now able to share.
Then we need access for Jessie, for Marina.
Jessie Miller.
Yes, Marina Magnant. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing any name not in the correct way.
I don't see Marina.
Some of the people might be in breakout rooms, so if you could get them back from the breakout rooms.
Okay, Marina has now the right vote too.
And for Lights, Camera, Youth and Action, Vancouver and Madrid, I didn't receive a name or I missed it. So if you could just let us know who will be the presenters for these two groups.
For Madrid?
Yeah.
Yes, for
Tamina?
Madrid.
For Madrid, they are gonna present together for showing the video and.
We would need the name, please.
The presenter, name of the presenter, please.
Perfect. I'm gonna send it to you now via email. You prefer?
And can
No,
you
just
say that loud
it
right now?
Okay. Tamila and Megan.
Okay, Tamila. Okay. Tamila has the right for sharing her screen now.
And for Vancouver, this would be?
Perfect, thank you.
In Vancouver, it would be Kimia.
Kimia, great.
Kimia. Kimia already has the right for sharing her screen. Okay, I go back to the jury room.
Okay, thank you. So now, Pooja, finally, it's your time now. 5 minutes.
Awesome. Can you all see my screen and hear me okay? Okay, great. Thank you all for joining me in this presentation. Yeah, so this is the team that we worked with in the Voicing Policies group. We had folks all the way from Toronto, Montreal, Argentina, as well as Vancouver. So and also Antoine, who was in Montreal. So it was quite a diverse team from all over the world, really. So the first session of our Thinkathon was just a sticky storm session. So we all came from different backgrounds and we all came from different geographies. So we wanted to first just put all the ideas that we wanted to work with on the board, well, a virtual board. And then with the help of Antoine, we were able to sort of categorize and summarize them and synthesize them into 3 main topics. And the whole team was then divided into the 3 main topics. So we not only had a breakout room, but we also had sub-breakout rooms, which I'll come to in a bit. Yeah, so a few highlights from our work in progress. We had Harry McCann come and have a chat with us, which was really insightful, and we got a lot of insights from him. And then, like I mentioned, we had like subgroups because we had three subtopics. So within the main Zoom room, we had subrooms, and it was quite interesting to sort of navigate that. And also we had a very engaging Slack channel. So that was also, so there was work happening even during the days that Thinkathon was not in progress. So this is like a snapshot from our sub breakout rooms. And now for the main policy recommendations. So the first the first subtopic within our policy recommendation was on the theme of accessibility. So I'll just read out the policy: launch digital literacy after school workshops in Vancouver's inner city schools once every week, in addition to broadband internet access to practice and reciprocate through weekly assignments. The whole idea behind this came from the context. The context behind this was that the BC's Ministry of Education was sort of taking off, experiencing budget cuts. I mean, the schools within BC's inner city schools were experiencing budget cuts. So this policy recommendation was targeted towards addressing that issue and in how this was going to be implemented, the team came up with like a sort of like almost like a partnership between suburban teachers, volunteers, inner city schools, as well as tech companies for their hardware and telecom companies for internet access. So it was like very collaborative, partnership oriented policy recommendation. The second one is on the topic of citizen engagement. I myself was a part of this team. The recommendation states, create a digital political methodology and platform for citizen engagement in discussions on important urban matters on various governance levels. The platform is to connect urban citizens with the work of policy matters at different levels relating to city, local, provincial, federal, etc. Its goal is to inform cities about urban developments and empower them to engage in conversation around digital decision-making related to the urban environment. So essentially the whole, the context behind this was we were realizing that the youth, especially the youth among all the citizens, were kind of their engagement in policy making and decision-making aspects were being reduced. So we wanted to address that, as well as having people come to a specific consultation or a specific sort of discussion or a roundtable was also asking too much and was quite demanding. So we wanted to do something digital. And you'll see in the how is to create a policy team composed of interdisciplinary experts, and to also keep the platform and methodology simple and user-friendly, and also allow users to engage on various levels as they please. And then also establish clear definition of the platform and methodology concerning the input from the citizens. And one major thing that we wanted to cover within this was to make sure that we had a framework to avoid information overload, because that was another thing that we wanted to tackle within these kinds of platforms. Usually citizens experience information overload, so we wanted to kind of tackle that within this as well. And the final recommendation is on the topic of transparency. Open a new avenue of engagement by implementing quarterly roundtable stakeholder meetings at the provincial and municipal level between private tech companies, local communities, and government actors. So the reason and the context behind this policy recommendation was really rooted in projects such as Sidewalk Toronto and Toyota Woven City. And the participants sort of raised important issues of transparency and accountability within these projects. So another reason was to give community essentially whose data is being collected a central voice in deciding how and when that data is being used. In terms of how this policy is going to be implemented, use existing community engagement structures, such as private public outreach through various channels to ensure that various communities are engaged, and to use existing community benefits agreements as structures for defining roles and relationships between the three groups. And finally, to ensure a diversity of voices, have all attendees on rotation. Basically one representative cannot really attend back-to-back roundtables, but rather have different voices be heard in these roundtables. That's it from our group. On behalf of my group, I really would like to thank Antoine, as well as who facilitated most of these discussions, as well as Thinkathon Vancouver, Madrid for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Very, very interesting. So we head over to the next group, Voicing Policies Madrid. Now the floor is for Olivia and Reina and Celine. Please do your presentation.
Great. So can you hear me, everyone? Yes. Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. We are Voicing Policies Madrid.
Our team is composed, is very diverse. We are Laura, Deborah, Juan, Olivia, Celine, and myself, Andreina. And we are 5 people, but we have up to 6 nationalities. And during this week, we have been discussing all the challenges that smart cities face today, especially in Madrid. So we have come to the conclusion that the main challenges that Madrid and many other cities face are, next slide, please, are the demographic growth, the increasing diversity in population, especially there's with migration, there's different religions, different levels of income, and also abilities. And policymakers are turning to smart and fast city solutions to improve the delivery of public services. However, these smart cities are impeding inclusion due to disparities in digital access, which creates differences in digital knowledge and skills, and also lack of civic participation in government processes, which unfortunately are still driven by incomplete data. So while this, after a brainstorm of many ideas, we came to 2 main proposals on how policy could improve these challenges. So I give the floor to Olivia.
Okay, thank you. So for the first solution, it has to do with expanding digital access and skills to fill usage gaps and increase inclusivity. So the first solution under that is to simplify and ease the access and knowledge for all citizens to public services. So that means getting them the knowledge and the opportunity to know about what different public services are available to them and being able to use it no matter what age you are and what part of the city you are. Then for providing free and powerful Wi-Fi around the city, there are many cities in Europe already that provide powerful and free Wi-Fi that's available to everyone. And we think that in order for a city to be more appealing, more people to want to move there and stay there, it would be essential to provide a Wi-Fi network. And additionally to this, now during the times of Corona, there are a lot of people who are working from home or also studying remotely. And we just think that because of this pandemic, and also, like I mentioned earlier, it's just essential for this to take place. And then lastly, it is to reduce the stigma for which people are afraid to share their own personal data. And we think that this would empower cities to improve security and services. I think other presentations mentioned a lot of different examples of how personal data can really be leveraged to provide even more to residents. And a lot of the times, the data of people are already being shared all the time on social media, kind of without even thinking about it. So if we could share it to the government, for example, and ease communication, we believe that would be better.
So, hi everyone, I'm Celine, and for our second recommendation, we had a similar idea to the Vancouver Policy Group. We want to increase representation and transparency in government data by addressing the kind of digitally invisible residents with the aim of ensuring civic inclusion and participation. So some ways to do that would be to create integrated apps to provide equal access to public services and amenities. And this is kind of about finding new ways to link physical spaces with the mechanisms that citizens can actually use to govern them. Another one would be to create a common database, a website or similar platform for all citizens to actually access the administrative information that is on these kind of websites, whether that's public information or their own individual records, such as health records. Another would be to secure data protection for all citizens, and that's kind of helping create alternative frameworks of data ownership, such as impartial committees who can decide what data mechanisms are involved and how those kind of get implemented, with an emphasis on cybersecurity as well, and using European technologies in that kind of way. Another would be to raise awareness and engagement with city decisions through a combination of traditional and modern social media to reach all generations. So citizens will not only have a formal forum to raise their concerns, but they'll also have the opportunity to be active in creating solutions with official representatives in a genuinely collaborative way. And we want to avoid kind of volunteerism, where citizens are expected to do the work of paid officials for free, and instead actually allow these individuals to engage with aspects of their society in ways that they're invested with and they get formal recognition for that. So if anyone would like to know more about the process of how we came to these 2 recommendations, we'll be having additional slides about our brainstorming process in the uploaded version of this presentation. But we just want to also take the time to thank the Thinkathon organizers and Luca, our facilitator, for this opportunity, and thank everyone for listening to our presentation and considering our recommendations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yes, all of you can be sure that we will do our best to bring your recommendations forward to the right people. Next team is Share the Bus Vancouver, and the presenter is Jessie. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Let me just set this up, please. Okay. All right. Can my screen be seen?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Alrighty, play from the start. Let's go. Alrighty, here we go. Wonderful. Alrighty, well, building off of what's been said, which were some great recommendations, I'll be looking to incorporate them into our social media thing. So yes, I'm from Share the Buzz Vancouver. I am the lone member, so with a lot of support and help from the Madrid team, so thank you very much. So my name is Jesse Miller. I'm 21. I'm from Vancouver Island. I live on Vancouver Island, just beside Vancouver. I study digital media and marketing, and some of my experiences to help me come together and bring my ideas together for this campaign included being a Queen Elizabeth II scholar, doing tourism development in rural Ghana, being a university lecturer, research assistant, academic research book editor and contributor, and I've taught English for the EU in Hungary last semester for 3 months. So moving forward. Oh, and lastly, if anybody wants to contact me, find me through these channels. So looking at our strategy, I wanted to start with why. Why are we trying to accomplish this? It's important to know what our direction is, because if we don't know what we're trying to accomplish with our campaign, we won't be able to move forward effectively. So I looked at 3 areas to concentrate on, which were youth perspectives, a call to action, and collaboration. So within these areas, we will be looking at creating action, utilizing youth perspectives, and engaging with our larger audience. Youth perspectives are essential in this pursuit of what we are trying to accomplish, which is getting young people involved in larger discussions and public discourse. We will create action by creating content that highlights the opportunity for the potential of being involved in a global conversation, such as the current topic on smart and fast expanding cities. We want our posts and tags to make people feel included and being given the feeling that they're being heard and can have their say in future policy initiatives. Together, these objectives help to create a more inclusive space, which allows for others to get involved and feel a part of such a crucial and essential conversation. So these are our 3 platforms that we're going to be utilizing to move our messaging across. These are the best hashtags to contact our community and find our other potential community that we're looking to attract. And what I also love about this is that because we have such a close touch point with our thing, we can get really personal and create genuine connections. So we'll be looking to engage our target market, which is 18 to 30, as it's important to create a conversation with these youthful people and get their say in such an important topic. We'll also be looking to reach outside of our space and talk with other people that share a similar psychographic motivation and pattern of ideals and thoughts. So we'll be looking at engaging that. And then moving forward from that and looking at the initial strategy, I've broken it into 3 areas, which is the communication strategy, SMART goals, and collaboration. So moving forward, I want to look at creating meaningful content that aims to connect our audience with pre-existing potential participants, design posts aimed at various attitudes and usage habits associated with social media platforms. And what I mean by that is that each platform has a different way in which we communicate with other people. So for Facebook, it's more about getting participation, sharing our ideas, sharing the linking so that people will come back and go through those channels. Whereas Twitter is about creating action and talking with other businesses and other communities and trying to create a unified approach to these big issues. And lastly, Instagram as a visual media to communicate visual data and our stories, which I will touch upon later on. So moving from there, looking at our SMART goals. So we're going to look at being specific through being clear and concise with our messaging, We can measure our data through quantitative methods through analytics, such as Facebook, Instagram, and then Google itself looking at analytics. And then looking at interlinking between platforms, because it's important to keep a clear messaging between our cause, who we're trying to reach, and back and forth. Because if we don't miss that lineage, we might be in a bit of trouble. And so then looking at including past and present content to be visible and maintain a presence on social media. And then lastly, it will be to look at our social media calendar and how we need to balance the way in which we are communicating. We're not trying to send too many messages, but send enough that people pay attention. And then lastly, because it's the biggest element of the Thinkathon and what we're trying to accomplish, is like continually emphasizing the importance of collaboration, because we're all collaborating, we're all trying to get something moving so that we can make an actual difference in the world and give people equal opportunities to be included in many different ways, not just smart cities. And then moving from there, looking at the calendar, there's a lot to fill in, but this is how far I've got so far, which is looking at creating a kind of a themed approach every week to what we're trying to accomplish. And so these are some of the themes I will be looking at throughout the calendar, because there's many weeks to cover, but there'll be enough to fill in the gaps. And then lastly, some examples of what we're looking at. And special thanks for Ivy for helping out with the first participant story. Like I touched with before, it's about showcasing our participants and the collaborators and showing that the people behind the movement, because people connect to seeing the people that are actually not just the text, but we need to see people in order to make a connection with what's going on. And so this is an idea of what we'll be looking to achieve through our posts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then lastly, weekly posts on Twitter that look to showcase hashtagging, and interlinking between channels, and also just looking at our stakeholders and partners so that we can create a unified messaging across a global community, which is amazing. And so that pretty much wraps it up. All the ideas are amazing. Please continue to share your ideas and keep the movement alive. And I look forward to working with you more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jesse. It's great to see one participant let down by all the others who did all this great work. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No worries. Madrid was very helpful, so I got to give them credit too. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. That's why we are here, transatlantic exchange. So then the next group is Share the Bus Madrid. Marina, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Wait. Sorry, wrong one. I think I shared the wrong screen. I'm so sorry. Can you view my screen, the PowerPoint? Are you able to view? Sorry.
Yes, everything is good.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I'm just setting up here so I don't lose time. Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Marina, and I will be presenting the Share the Buzz Team Madrid, the outcomes. So first of all, who are we? We divided ourselves into two groups. The first one is composed of 5 people. So Cecilia, Valerie, Monica, and our second group was composed of 7 people. Raquel, Maya, Andrea, Esther, Egle, Adam, and Katie. We ranged from 8 countries and over 10 nationalities. So first, we would like to take this opportunity to thank Julia, our mentor and moderator, for helping us tremendously during this whole project. And also, I could only vouch Jesse Miller from the Vancouver team, who did an amazing job for their social media strategy. Our team had several meetings with him, and we were able to successfully collaborate and create synergies between North America and Europe, which was fantastic. So what were our objectives? Our objectives were to, first of all, share the buzz, which means covering the event, promoting the project, increasing engagement for the next Thinkathon, as well as raising awareness regarding smart and fast expanding cities. And with this campaign, our target audiences were young people and policymakers. So to achieve our online communication strategy, we are planning on sharing the following content. First of all, scientific dissemination regarding smart cities to raise awareness through infographics and did you knows. After, the co-creation of content with the audience to generate more engagement. So through quizzes, polls, Q&As, and then Thinkathon related content to convert the followers into participants for next Thinkathons. So that's the recap of the event, countdowns, highlights, quotes from actual participants. And to measure if we've accomplished our goals, we will be using the following quantitative metrics, not only Google Analytics, but also seeing the number of follows, likes, shares, comments, and clicks. And then our conversion rates from followers to actual participants through our custom bit.ly link, see how many people are registering for the next Thinkathon and how many people are clicking on the link. Now, regarding our channels, we've decided to use Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and it is worth noting that all our content was adapted to each social media. So we first started by creating a Gantt diagram to have a global view of the next 15 weeks until the next Thinkathon on September 25th. And I've included this screenshot so you can view how this is. So up here we have the weeks, and then these were all our goals, everything we wanted to post, and then we just matched one with the other. And when all our overview was done, we went into details for every post and created our social media calendar. This document contains all the information from the posts, including the times, dates, which will be incorporated with the response we get, all the captions, the visuals that will be used, our main goal with each post, and even hashtags and tags, sorry. Now for social media content, although I know we don't have much time, I wanted to briefly showcase some of the examples of beautiful content created by some people on our team who really outdid themselves. And for this, we mostly used Canva. So for example, here we have some of the quotes from participants on why smart cities are important as part of our dissemination strategy. Here we have the did you knows from Vancouver, Amsterdam, Stockholm, a bunch of really interesting information. And then our smart cities infographics, the countdowns we will do for the next Thinkathon, our Q&As for Instagram and Facebook stories, the polls we will be sharing, the quizzes too, some more example of the quizzes. And then this is our team. And so our team wanted to take the time to thank the organizers and everyone involved in making these events because we really enjoyed it. It was truly a pleasure to participate. And we all worked really hard, overcame challenges, and are extremely proud of what we accomplished during this Thinkathon. And to close, I just wanted to share a quote that really resonates, which is by Mother Teresa, that says that we only know too well that we are doing is nothing more than a drop in the ocean. But if the drop were not there, the ocean would be missing something. So all this to say that we truly hope that not only our strategy, but the voicing policies and the videos can make an impact by not only educating, but also motivating other young people to make their voices heard.
Thank you so much, Marina. This was very, very nice, very good presented. Thank you. And I think I feel the same like you. It's just amazing what you all did in this week. And this shows how important this project is. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So next group is Lights, Camera, Youth and Action Vancouver. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Kimya who presents.
Thank you very much, Annalena. This was a very interesting exercise for us. Part of our team was new to the medium, not only covering a conference virtually, which was new for all of us, but to create a video, work in Premiere, use tools like the Adobe Creative Cloud to bring this project together. Today's presentations are included in our final offerings. So our final video will actually be made available tomorrow. But we wanted to take the time to discuss a little bit and share a bit about the process and what went into covering a 3-day long 24-hour Thinkathon turned into virtual conference. So how do we make the digital future more inclusive? In digital filmmaking, our tech and cameras are only as inclusive as the people that are utilizing them. So our focus was on how can we invite more people to participate in media creation. I myself, I'm a freelance journalist and a filmmaker. I've produced media across 4 continents. Most recently, I was living in Senegal and making short docs on West Africa. So we'd like to be as mindful of Eastern culture and developing nations as we are of the West and where we live. This week we watched the different teams and like traditional media, we recorded and selected sound bites. The exercise in being smart and fast, particularly here, was to collect the sound bites that most resonate with us as minorities. I'd like to draw here and share with you guys some infographics from the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative, which is an annual research project that is funded actually by Goethe and highlights key findings in the inclusion in media. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share that. We're having some technical, I can't seem to be able to pull up my browser, but I'll just tell you guys about it and I'll share a link to that study. They found that of the 100 top grossing films in 2018, when it came to gender, 112 directors helmed it, but only 3.6% of those directors were women. So the ratio makes it 1 out of every 27. When it came to race in 2018, of the 100 top grossing films, only 16 were Black directors, 4 were Asian. Women of color received very few opportunities across the 12-year time frame. Only 9 directing assignments were filled by women of color across 1,200 top grossing films. And in terms of C-suites at these top level production companies, the corporate boards, only 17.3% of the top executive positions in media major companies were held by women. So what can we do about it? Solutions for change. One of the first solutions is to set target inclusion goals for directors on their yearly film slates. That way they can think more critically about the available pool of talent and to challenge their perception of who can lead the charge and where the budget studios can allocate their resources. There's something called Inclusion Writer, which you guys may have heard of because in recent Academy Awards, we have heard a lot of famous actors and directors making mention of it in their acceptance speeches. And what it means is that it wants companies to embrace organization-wide diversity and inclusion policies that will challenge hiring, greenlighting, pay equity, distribution practices across television, film, and streaming platforms, as well as productions. And last but not least, the final solution pertains to partnerships. Companies need to continue to embrace and financially support groups and nonprofit organizations across local, national, and international. And of course, we're seeing that in our collaboration here between the EU and Canada. We're seeing it across media with the support of organizations like the BBC in West Africa and supporting filmmaking there. So we're starting to see it and we're encouraged to see that we're hopefully moving in the right direction. And we're excited to share a final product with you tomorrow.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge to create a video from your screen and this in only 5 days. So thank you so much, Kimia, for your support. It was really and is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now next team is Lights, Camera, Youth in Action Madrid. Please go ahead and share your screen.
Hello from Barcelona and Madrid. I'm Damila and Magna is also my companion. So we are going to present our video just now. Are you ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Wait a minute. I need to make sure if the sound is working, okay?
Should be fine if you share the screen with the
Okay.
with the sound of the computer.
Yes, yes. Okay.
We have been locked down for a long time and had this craving to finally go out and enjoy our cities. Why is interaction with our cities so important? My city is beautiful and smart. As a nursing student, for me, it's important that my city provides healthcare facilities by one click on my smartphone. My smart city cares about my health. It informs me about the air status if there's a high level of contamination, artificial intelligence installed in municipal garbage bins to keep my city clean from infectious diseases. It suggests me parks and relaxing spots close by my workplace. To keep my mind healthy and stable, just need to share my location with an app. And it's all possible by using my smartphone. We just need to give our personal data and don't worry about it.
But wait, what about my data security and privacy? Every piece of technology, even light bulbs, are getting the smart treatment. This is great, but every day over 5 quintillion bytes of data are being generated by IoT devices alone. Everywhere we walk, we're being protected by hidden cameras and data being found everywhere. The problem? We sometimes don't even know or understand what's being collected and when. Imagine the sugar in a cup is the data being collected. Simple and easy, where and when. But now, with smart cities, so much data is being collected. We don't know what data is collected, when, how much, or how often. And now, it's many different types of data all over coming together. We can understand it. How can we create more transparent and clear laws? How can we as citizens know when and where our data is being taken? Yes, there are new and better laws, but we need to create more awareness and more information.
We seek cyber lawyers. We seek protection against data misuse and cyber attacks.
We seek transparency. We seek more awareness.
Okay.
We have.
I think that's it. That's it.
Wow, thank you very much. It's already ready, your video. Great job. Great job.
It was challenging, but we decided actually to fuse points, mine and Magna, and it actually was a great challenge, but it boosts our creativity in certain ways.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. It's nice to see. And we will share all outcomes on the platform, and as I said already, with policymakers also. So thank you very much. And now, without waiting any longer, because I know we are terribly behind time, now comes the part everyone is looking for, probably the most. We have all the winner announcements now, and this is hopefully the most emotional part of this presentation. And I hand over to the jurors. They will now announce the winners of the Thinkathon online challenge. We have different prizes, and the jurors will announce the team as well as what is the prize. If you don't know, no worries, I help out. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Annalena.
Yeah, it's been a very lively discussion between judges to know which team will be winning. I have our responsibility of nominating the 2 teams that sadly aren't part of the 3 best teams, to our opinion. Even if all projects were very interesting and very relevant to our opinion, we have decided not to select 2 teams, which are online accessibility and SWOT analysis. And now for the 3rd team.
Yeah, thank you very much. And so the podium, the 3rd team. So for the importance of the subject for our society and for the quality of the recommendation, at least for the motivation shown, the 3rd one will be XCT. Congratulations. And now, thank you. And, well done.
Yes.
For the winner, Claude. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Well, like as Jean-Vincent said, all 5 presentation was very, we thought it was very interesting, very innovative, and I'm sure you will make a great impact in your future because all these initiatives are very interesting. But obviously in any competition, we come out with a winner. And we felt that this team presented a project that, especially in this day and time, is very important to address. And we would like to congratulate Think Outside the Bar for winning this this competition. We feel that systemic racism and helping inmates, to improve their lives could be very important in the future. Congratulations again. Thank you. And Andrea,
and
next.
So congratulations for winning the 2nd prize, Talk Maze. We were all impressed by your presentation, which demonstrated how important it is to make public speaking a priority in curriculum. But we also thought that your pitch was most oriented to youth, and not only for your professional careers, but also in these days, youth need a voice, and education shall enable young people to raise their voice and be able to articulate themselves to present their ideas. So as said, you were all wonderful. It wasn't easy. Congratulations.
Thank you, Andrea. And now there's still one prize left. And as Andrea said, presentation is everything when you want to win an audience. And the 86 votes that this team has collected shows that exactly. And just as you explained, Talk Maze has won the audience prize. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, you've all done an amazing job, and you should all be very proud of the work that you have done looking at our digital futures. And I want you guys to realize that you're not just going to be future leaders, but you're also going to be leaders of today. You are stepping up to the plate and you're trying to make a difference in our society. And so, especially at a time right now in the 21st century, technology is really advancing at a rapid rate. And it's essential to our society that we acknowledge this and that we try to move forward in regards to making policies and government and things like that work for us. I think there's an opportunity right now in regards to COVID-19 going on, but then also as youth, right? You grew up and we grew up with digital stuff at our fingertips. There's a lot of people that are currently in positions of power that may not have gone through that, grew up on an iPhone or something like that, right? So there's this opportunity where you can come forward as the experts in digital and you can help policymakers make a difference and become more aware of what's going on. I do know where I am, my demographic of other fellow politicians are definitely, and policymakers are from an older demographic. Traditionally, that's just how it works in my area, and it might be similar in your areas as well. And so they sort of have a systems thinking, is if it's not broken, don't fix it. However, we're coming into new times where there's new problems that are occurring, climate change, immigration, and things like that, that they're not used to solving problems for. And so there needs to be a new way of thinking, of creativity and innovating in order to move forward. So I think what happened right now is that COVID-19 shook this all up. We're all self-isolated at home, and it started changing, and it forced everybody to go online. So I think it's very interesting how this initiative and this program is having us have this conversation online as well. So what ended up happening, I can give you an example in my government, is realizing the gaps in society that we didn't have. So digital wasn't an option before. When COVID-19 happened, everybody went home, they were self-isolating, and our government came to a halt. It actually couldn't make any decisions because we didn't have any policies in place and bylaws in place to say we were allowed to host meetings online. So a lot of, even right now, just due to COVID-19 and everything shaking up, is there's an opportunity to start to implement and suggest to politicians on how you can solve these problems. So what I'd like to give you guys today are a few tips on how to influence politics. The first one, and I've seen all of you doing this, so it's great work, is you're going to make sure that you gather a lot of data, and you're going to present the information that makes them comfortable to make a decision. Because not all politicians are expert in all the fields. And so they need help sometimes in regards to, they want to make a decision, but they need that information. And so the best information, if you can provide them with that, they're going to be more open to listening to you. And if you can offer solutions, that's even better. The next one I would say is that you want to be able to demonstrate that you have support. So maybe building coalitions. Is it just you that's thinking that this is a great idea? Or are there other people in your neighborhood that think this is a great idea? Are there other organizations that can get on board? And so that's really important, that if you're going to be presenting something to a policymaker, that you make sure that you have a lot of stuff to back you up. But the third one I say is, this is a big one that other politicians probably don't want me talking about this, but be relentless. Keep asking them. Keep telling them that it's important. You might ask them once, they might say, nah, we'll deal with it later. Ask them again, and ask them again, and ask them again. I went to a political conference last year, and what they said is, like, sometimes constituents, you want them to go away. It's like a little kid asking for a cookie, right? So I want a cookie, I want a cookie, I want a cookie. And what does the parent normally say after a while? Here, just take the cookie, right? So that's where you need to do this with policymakers and politicians sometimes, is if it's something that's really important, keep talking to them, keep asking them. If there's something that they're not comfortable with, ask them what information's missing, and then go find that information and bring it back to them. And then they'll be comfortable on trying to make a decision. The last point I guess I want to make is that it's important to try to get into the room. So you can either join committees. A lot of governments have committees. And what's great is that right now, they're often looking for youth representatives on those committees. So if you wanted to pitch yourself to join the committee as a youth representative, they realize that they're not getting all of the different points of view across. So joining different committees are really important. Or get a seat at the table. I originally didn't think I was going to be running in politicians. I come from the arts and culture industry. And how I got involved is I was sitting on a committee at my local government for arts and culture policy. And what ended up happening is that we were going to referendum to build a new cultural center. And I was part of that campaign saying, this is really important in my town, and this is what we want to do. During that process, people were saying, why aren't more women running in politics and sitting at the table? Why aren't more youth running and sitting at politics at the table? These are all important things. So instead of often pointing the fingers to your neighbors, Have confidence. You guys are here doing an amazing job at things that you want to implement into policy and make a difference in government. Step up, okay? I'm tapping you on the shoulder and saying it's okay, and to try it. So definitely stepping up to the table is a really great thing to do. And we need different ideas, and they need to be able to think differently. So thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for all your presentations. They've been amazing. And the last thing that I get to announce is the 2 winners that get flights to the events. So drum roll. What's going to end up happening is, as Annalena said at the beginning, is that right now we're not sure if the events will be occurring or when the event might occur, but you're still going to get these flights, okay? So the person that gets a flight to Ottawa is Daniel Johannesson. So congratulations, Daniel. So these awards are coming from the group has watched the entire time you guys have been working on this project. So good job.
Thank you so much.
And our next winner is Galia Amer. She will get a flight to Brussels.
Thank
So
you.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
And I'll pass it back to you, Annalena.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I don't know what to say. It's difficult to speak after you. Thank you so much for your words, for your insights, for your tips. It's really appreciated, and I think they were really hands-on. So they were very, very valuable for our participants. So thank you for being one of our jurors. Thank you. And yeah, saying this, I also want to thank all the other jurors. You had quite some tasks to do, quite a job. Thank you for your support and for selecting these teams. And as we said at the beginning, all teams really are the winners of our heart because your work is just incredible. Okay, now we go to the prize announcement for the Vancouver Madrid Thinkathon. It would still be nice if the others remain with us because it's just nice to see. And we start with Antoine from Voicing Policies Vancouver, who announces the first job shadowing.
Hi. Oh, sorry. I've tried to put a photo behind my back, but I'm sorry, it doesn't look so great. But so I'm going to announce the prize for the Voicing Policies Vancouver, and it goes to Pooja Prakash. So Pooja, your prize is a job shadowing experience with MLA Rick Glumac. And so Rick is a parliamentary secretary for technology in BC and an MLA for the beautiful riding of Port Moody, Coquitlam, which is behind my back here. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. The next one is Marilena, who announces the prize for Voicing Policies Madrid.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Hi, everyone. So the next one, Voicing Policies Madrid, I'm happy to announce that Andreina Gonzalez will get the job shadowing, which is a training experience on megatrends and sustainability with engaging society.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy.
Great.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you to my team, Luca, everyone. It was really nice experience.
Great. So the next is Grégoire, please.
All right. So so the winner for another job shadowing opportunity with the city of Vancouver is Jesse Miller from the Vancouver Share the Bus team. So it's so the Vancouver plan, just to give a bit of background, is a 3-year planning process to create a new plan for Vancouver that will both shape the future of the city to 2050 and beyond. So congrats, Jesse.
Thank you, everyone.
And Jessie, just to let you know, it's not because you were the only one in this group. Really,
Oh,
really
that's
not.
good.
No, really not. It was because you handled a whole group as one person. Your engagement and motivation was just outstanding.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I'll be back next time.
Yes, please. Okay, so next one would be Julia, please.
Hello, everybody. So for the winner of the job shadowing for the Share the Buzz Madrid, it will be Raquel Conejo Usillos, who wins the training experience on megatrends and sustainability with Engaging Society for Sustainability. So congratulations.
Oh, really? Oh my. Okay, I didn't expect that. Thank you.
Surprise.
Oh, thank
you.
Thank you.
That's why I love this part the most. To see all your reactions. That's wonderful. Okay, congratulations, Raquel. So next one is Kimia announcing.
So for Light Camera Youth in Action in Vancouver, job shadowing goes to Samuel Chen with the Vancouver Economic Commission. To read from their offering, the Vancouver Economic Commission works to build a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient economy for Vancouver, its businesses, and its citizens. Congratulations, Sam.
Wonderful. Congratulations again. And I want to say last but not least, but there are still some prizes left. So now it would be Mario, please.
So for the light youth action of Madrid, I would want to have Kimia for the job shadowing listed for her because of the incredible job she did and fast communication with all of the members of the group. And
I'm not sure if you have the right name because Kimia is the moderator.
Oh, sorry, not Kimia. Here is a bit, sorry. Tamia. You are the winner anyways. I'm sorry, here is a bit later, so I'm getting, is 3 in the morning here.
I was surprised to have another person in the group.
Yes. A lot of buzz, especially from that person. Sorry, Kimia, to involve you in this, but I'm sure that there is going to be also many prizes for you, and many before. Anyway, congratulations to you, and also for that's it, basically. So
yes, I want to thank also Magna because it was perfect.
Yes.
Like we fused everything, so I kind of feel bad that we didn't share our prize.
To me, it was also difficult to choose, I have to say, because they worked as a tandem team. Unfortunately, I had to assign one, but congratulations to Magna, also to you, because without you, literally this video wouldn't be possible for the wrap-up and for many of the points made. That has been very fun. It's been very, very fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now it's Kate who announces the last job shadowing.
For the final job shadowing on the Canadian side, we have a winner for a Vancouver Board of Parks and Recreation Planning, Policy and Environment team. And the winner is Ivy Kwon. Ivy, congratulations. I will take over right away, just prior giving back the speech to Annalena and Marilena for the announcement of the final 2 winners on our Vancouver Madrid Thinkathon. I would like to take the time to thank our partners, our jurors, our moderators, our experts, our supervisors, every single participant. and anyone who has helped us by sharing the word about this project, by participating, by getting involved, evaluating projects. Every single step of this process was very, very important. And together, we are one step, hopefully, closer to inclusivity. Annalena?
Thank you so much, Kate. And now Marilena and I have the pleasure to announce the flights to Europe or Canada. So I will start with the flight from Canada to Europe, and the prize goes to Camila. Congratulations. I'm not sure where you are on my several slides.
Hi.
There you are. Congratulations, Camila.
Thank you. Big surprise. I was like, wait, what? What? Because I know there's people with similar names. I was like, was that really my name?
Yes, it's you. Congratulations. So, Marilena.
Well, yeah, now for Europe, the winner of the Madrid Thinkathon, let's say, is Marina from Julia's group. Congratulations, Marina Magnan.
Wow, thank you so much. I was very surprised. Thank you. It was such a pleasure to be a part of this Thinkathon. So thank you to all the organizers and for this amazing opportunity.
Great. We are happy that you all enjoyed.
Yes, you're more than welcome. So now everyone, we are, as you said, over the time. Everyone needs to sleep, needs to work, needs to do other things. Thank you once again. Thank you also to all for all the technical support from Agorize side, who is our technical partner, and not only technical partner, but overall partner. Agorize, a great job once again. You're always with us. That's always a pleasure. Thank you for all your thoughts, for your work, for dedication. Stay tuned for the next Thinkathons. As we said, we try to get them online, perhaps on site. We would be more than happy to see you again, to hear your thoughts, and we do all our best to bring your thoughts and the recommendations to the right people, that they will be implemented and that your voice will be heard. Thank you everyone for being part of this project.